All right, hello everyone, and welcome again to another Pearls Paranormal TV. And tonight, we have a special guest for you. I was looking at the chat box, and I put in the wrong thing. That was actually our actual studio link. So like really hoping nobody clicks on it and come to the studio. We won't admit we won't admit them if they do. How about that? All right, let's bring in the rest of the team. Okay, we've got my wait a minute, where am I? Wait, oh, there's everybody. I thought I had lost all of the green room. We've got the heartbeat of the South and every beat of my heart, my son Tim Harrington. Hey Tim, how are you
Hey,
doing?
Mom, how's everybody doing?
Oh, hanging in here. I tell you,
All right.
I've had a long day. Got up too early.
Yeah,
About I'm running on about 4 hours of sleep, but
yeah.
I'll I'll sleep good tonight.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
Well, let's not go anywhere on this show without our girl Kathy Cece Carson. Hi, Kathy. How you
Hey,
doing?
Kathy.
Hey, very good. I'm looking forward to the show. So this is excellent. And it's first day of spring. So happy spring equinox, first day of
Yeah,
spring to
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, me too, me too. So I'll tell you what we're gonna do right now. We're gonna bring in our guests and go ahead and get started with the show. Kathy, who do we have tonight? It's your special guest.
Well, it's my pleasure. I've known Andy for, like we just mentioned, 20 years, Andy Rodriguez, and his official shaman native name is Walk with Thunder. So it's my pleasure to bring him on today. And there he is. Hi, Andy.
Hello,
Hey,
Andy.
Well, hi,
Welcome.
everybody. Hi, Pearl and Tim and Kathy. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you so much,
pleasure to
and we
have
are
you.
really happy to have you tonight. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a minute to let the team share the show, and I'm gonna do some sharing. So we're just gonna go to one of our short commercial. James is coming into the studio. James, I'll bring you back after commercial break. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna go and do a little commercial break. Right now, we'll listen to our co-host Sybil Marie Presley. That'll give us enough time for us to share to all of our social media platforms and come on back. All right. Here we go. Stick and stay, those of you that are here already, and we're gonna get some more people in. Okay. We'll be back.
Hi there. I am Sybil Marie Presley from Memphis, Tennessee. Today is Monday, December 18, 2023, and I'm so excited to tell you about Live Good's Super Reds powder. I just love it. It gives me energy, and it's helping to build my immune system. It keeps me heart healthy, and it causes me to have more nitric oxide in my system, which is very good for you. I just love my Super Reds powder. And if you'll get up and go, got up and went, then you can purchase Super Reds powder today. Go to shoplivegood.com/Sybil Presley. That's shoplivegood.com/Sybil Presley. SYBILPRESLEY. shoplivegood.com/Sybil Presley and get your Super Reds powder today. And also, I would like to know, do you like making money and saving money? Either or? Well, me, I want to save money and make money. So I signed up with Live Good to become an affiliate. And what an affiliate is, you can join the business for $40, only $40. It's $40. 40 plus $9.95 monthly membership, and you get to purchase your products at a very excellent discount. So I like being an affiliate because I'm so excited, number one, to tell everybody about the Super Reds powder. Plus, Live Good has a lot of other products too. And when you refer your friends to your website, then you can go into your back office and see how much money you make. I just love it. So it'll change my life, and it's so easy to be excited about this wonderful product. What I do, I like taking mine in the morning. So I get me an 8-ounce glass of water and put like a little scoop in there, stir it up, and then drink it. It tastes so delicious. So I just wouldn't be without my Super Reds. And if you want some more information about these wonderful Live Good products, then you can also contact me at 901-643-1982. That's 901-643-1982. Let's get together and have a Super Reds powder party. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Okay, so we're back. Hi Judy, thanks for joining us. I was still in the middle of my sharing. 'Cause I was like to let them know we're live now. A lot of people forget, and I like to go ahead and get that in on Facebook page. Okay, done. All right, thank y'all for sharing, and for now, 40 of you have joined us, and we'll keep the stats coming in. I'll keep pasting them in the comment column because we are broadcasting Andy live simultaneously at the same time. At the same time. On 11 platforms. So uh, a lot of the people who are watching us cannot be seen in our stats at the top of the screen because they don't show on Facebook page or YouTube page, but they do show on the page of the platform wherever that they're watching from. And so we have currently 42 total that are from all of the platforms, but hopefully that will increase. Yeah, it's gonna rain here tomorrow, supposedly. If it's not gonna rain, if it doesn't rain tomorrow, I guarantee it's gonna rain Saturday here in Memphis, Tennessee, because my hips and back and legs, shoulders are hurting me really, really bad, y'all.
Mm.
Okay. All right, so Kathy, I'm gonna get the writing
Yes.
off of the screen and I'm gonna put you on spotlight. So, 71 of you are in now. Put you on spotlight so you can introduce, I guess. Tell us a little bit about him before we all come back to the four um, viewer screen. Okay.
Okay. Andy Rodriguez, Walk with Thunder. He is shaman born, and his dad was a shaman, and so he also teaches people. He mentors them as well on relationships. He mentors people on narcissists, which is really important because there seems to be a lot of them these days, and love relationships. Such as I believe he talks about twin flames and soulmates and karmics and how he can help people, increase the love in their relationships. So it's my pleasure to introduce Andy Rodriguez, Walk with Thunder.
Hi, Andy. Welcome to the
Andy.
show, y'all. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
Thank,
Pearl. Hi, Ken. Hi, Kathy. Pleasure to
thanks
be
so
here.
much of you. Thank you so much of you guys. A lot of more you guys have come in now. We've got 136 of you, and what that means is we're live for only 9 minutes and 10 seconds. We currently have 136 when I posted that. Now we have 172. So, Kathy, go ahead
Yes.
and tell us about Andy, or do you want Andy to tell us about himself? Tell us about
Well,
himself.
yeah, Andy, you do have a website. First of all, can you tell us what your website is?
Walks with an S with
Oh, it's Walks with
thunder.com.
Thunder. Sorry about that.
Walkswiththunder.com. And gosh, I've been doing this for, I don't know, 20, 25 years. And I'm not sure about what time that is because um, the gift shows up at a time and you have to seek out why it's happening, which I did in 1992, and I didn't like the answers I got. It took me a while to start teaching because
did you did you say walkwiththunder.com?
Walks, plural.
WalksWiththunder at .com. That's right, .com.
.com. So it's walks,
T-H-U-N-D.
plural, WALKS,
Mhm.
with,
Mhm.
WITH, thunder.com.
Mhm. Okay, I'm typing in so I can put that on the screen for our viewers.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
got it.
I know, Andy, that you've had course, a lot of paranormal experiences. One of them, and being a shaman, that's part of the job, right? So to bring these experiences to yourself, and how do you do this in forms of visions, or can you explain a little bit about shamanism and how you approach it? Because you're a modern shaman.
Well, a modern shaman means, and I don't mean to disrespect the other shaman, but I don't use tools. I don't have, an outfit. I get dressed up in regalia. There's no leather and feathers or drumming or chanting, or you don't have to sacrifice a chicken to do what I do. I like to say that if it was difficult, I wouldn't do it. But the paranormal comes to me, and I see it right here, like another person in the room. And there's stuff out there that I'm scratching my head. I don't even know what that was. Nobody's ever talked about it. It's not in any books or fantasy I've ever seen. But there it is. And they get quite disturbed when they notice that I can see them.
So, do you talk to them? Do you talk to them?
Sometimes they talk to me, sometimes they don't. I was a big skeptic about whether there was actually a God or not. And I think this started because of that, because I made a deal with the evil one and the good one. I said, you guys go your way, I'll go mine. I should have just painted a big target on my forehead. Because right after that, the paranormal was like right here in my face going, hi, I'm real. And that was just horrible. I searched for years. There's a 7-year period where I searched for an answer. I finally went to a medicine man on the Pine Ridge Reservation, and he told me, you're going through this because you are your grandfather's spirit reborn. And that means that everything he knows, you know. And for 10 days, he tested me. He'd be like, why don't you go do a tobacco offering? Give me a bag of tobacco and set me on my way. It's 124 degrees out there, and he's having me do a tobacco offering. And I thought, well, the 7 directions are important. So I put some tobacco in 3 directions, and in the south, I couldn't find any. Couldn't find a spot. And I'm looking at this freshly tilled field, 124 degree heat, and the people from Seattle are melting. That's me. So I take some tobacco and I just toss it. And it fades out of existence about that far from it. And I couldn't believe it. I spent another 30 minutes on my hands and knees looking for it in the dirt. And I couldn't find it. And that was their way of saying, hello. And now when I do the tobacco offering, you can see the tobacco fade out of existence. And the Lakota were pretty mad at me for a while because I said, their prayer ties lack spiritual power because their tobacco just lays there. It doesn't disappear like mine does.
Mm-hmm.
Little string, it's all tied up in those cute little packages, but it doesn't go anywhere. So your tobacco offering was not accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were a little upset about that. And they're like, oh, many wonderful things are happening around that. I don't see it. And I would see it if something wonderful was happening. It's just laying there. You're going to have to burn it or let it rot.
So, where do you live?
I live in Phoenix today, but I also live in Tacoma sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, Washington.
Oh, really? Okay. And tobacco offerings. Do you use tobacco?
I don't smoke it, but I use loose tobacco.
Yeah, my
And
uh-huh.
you put it in your hand, you grab a clump like
Yeah.
this, and you just toss it in the direction. And if the spirits are with you, they'll take it. Sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
can feel their hand take it from your hand.
Wow.
Mm.
That's got to be
And,
pretty scary, huh?
and I like to do the tobacco offering on concrete so you can see it's not there.
Mm. Well, it's pretty light. If there's a good wind, it's gonna go away and blow, right? Anyway, right? But I'm just saying because
Well,
my granddaddy chewed tobacco, right? My my aunt had an aunt that dipped snuff. All of my mother smoked. My granddad, that's a granddad that used tobacco. My aunt Dolly was the dipper, but she smoked a cigarette every now and then. My aunt Jessie, she smoked, and she didn't stop until a couple years before she passed away. My mom smoked. I smoke. I still smoke. I smoke cigars, so I did get off cigarettes. And tobacco is sort of a Native American, I would say, or various Indian tribes tradition. Because my family was is Black Creek, Crete, from Mississippi around the Southlands down here in the South. Have you ever heard of that tribe?
The Black Creek, I haven't heard of them, but there's only about 100, 124 nations that are recognized by the U.S. government, but there's probably 260 different nations out there.
Well, no, this is not a nation anymore. It's that all of them dead now. you know, but I'm just saying. At least I know
That's right.
what
Yeah.
what one side of me our my heritage comes from because I actually saw a picture of my mother's my grandfather's sister. Now she was the one that had that showed the most Indian in her. She was really dark. Well, she was the most representative, I would say. Well, my aunt Dolly though, she kind of looked like my aunt. Well, this particular Creek Indian, my grandfather's sister, that my mother called Aunt Jane. That was her name. She said that she was a mean lady. But I saw a portrait of her when I went down to Mississippi. I was actually pregnant with my son. This was in 1971. Of course, Aunt Jane had been dead for probably 30, 40 years, but they had her old portrait of her on the wall, big, huge portrait. And her skin was very, very dark. She was not smiling at all. She did not happy. She looked mean. And her hair was a straight black, dark hair, all black hair. And I was like, ooh, that's spooky. Not only was Mississippi pitch black dark, but I couldn't hardly sleep in that house that night.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim don't know anything about it. I may have told him the story, but I'm sure he's forgotten about it. But I think I was probably about 7 months with you, and you didn't like it at all.
Sounds about
Yeah.
right.
Well, Andy, let me ask you a question too. I've heard that traditional shamans they go out in the wilderness and they fast and do things. You don't have to do that, right? Or did you do those initiations?
There is no suffering on my path. If you're suffering on my path, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
The Caddo Nation, which is my nation, are the not nice Indians. Baton Rouge in Louisiana is named after them. In French, that means red stick. And our people, should you cross into our territory, would kill you, put some sticks into the blood, and mark the territory like this is where you're not supposed to go. Here's the red sticks to prove it. And if you cross that, this is going to happen to you. And they named that city after our people.
What's the name of it?
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. And, you- and,
Louisiana.
and your
Baton
nation?
Rouge or
Baton Rouge.
Baton. And,
Oh,
and your nation is what nation?
Caddo, Caddo.
CRDD. Oh, yeah. I've seen that in Louisiana.
Well, they got
Uh,
casinos, they got a parish, but they had the
yeah.
Red River area in Texas on through Louisiana. Our people traded copper and emeralds from Mexico City to New York City. And if
Okay.
we captured you in battle, you
Hmm.
became, our unwilling slave. And you were beaten every day of your life until we determined that you would earn the right to carry a message to our God, because then we'd just keep beating you till you died and take the message. We,
You
we were
sound
not nice. We built
you sound
mounds.
like Ned and Tahoe.
But my nation wanted to control me, and they called me up one day and they said, You
Oh
know, our
no.
medicine people aren't on television. They aren't on the radio. They don't write articles. They're not in magazines. And they don't teach white people. And they don't talk about paranormal things. And I said, well, you know, it's a good thing that I'm not one of your medicine people because I'm going to keep doing all those things and you will not control me. Oh, they were pissed. But your heritage is your heritage. You can't do anything about that.
That's true. Yeah. Um, Tim, do you have any questions for Andy?
What is the difference between a shaman and a medicine man?
A medicine person follows the red road. They have a religious um, connection to it. The red road is a philosophy that as long as you're on the path of your own path, and a lot of times you'll see natives putting one foot in front of the other because they're walking that rope, that road. And if they get off it, then they feel lost and they got to do a ceremony, go back to sweat, get back on that road. Um, medicine people are healers. They can tell you where the game is. They can tell you other things. They're healers. And a shaman does all those things, but we're not really religious, whereas a medicine person is religious. And I had one lady who was a Wiccan telling me, well, you can't harm anyone. And I said, you're thinking about Wiccans and harm none. I'm a shaman. I can do whatever I want.
That's funny there.
You stopped talking to me. But, you know, she was getting nasty and I just wanted to put her in her place. And I did.
You are what you are, and you
Yeah.
can't change it. But can I ask you a question? Now, are you a red shirt? Now that you're on this topic, because I think patches are red shirts, right? I'm not sure.
I
But
am not a red shirt.
So
oh,
what is a
okay.
red shirt? We need to know what that is for the audience, Kathy. What are you referring to?
Well, I believe it's a warrior, right? Because when I was on your talk show, Andy, and I mentioned about the woodpecker that shapeshifted in one of my books, you had mentioned something about the red shirts and how, they had caps, right? Red caps, kind of like, or something like that with the woodpecker relating. That's a long time ago. I was on your talk show like 20 years ago.
You know, my
But
show was the biggest one on Blog Talk Radio. I only had like 150,000 listeners, but back then that was a lot. The
it's a lot, even
the,
now.
the spiritual warrior is what I am. A red shirt is also a physical warrior. And the way I see it is, as long as you stand up for what you believe in, you're always going to have people that don't like you. So as long as you have enemies and people that don't like you, you've stood up for something, you meant something. If you don't have any enemies, you didn't stand up for anything. And that's not who I want to be.
Right. I understand.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you this: you may know it and you may not know it. Did shape shifting originate from the Indians?
Shape-shifting is something about that almost all indigenous nations still do. So if you go down to Peru, there's they shape-shift. I teach shape-shifting. It's not that difficult.
Really?
But I read a book called Shaman Healer Sage. And I'm like, wow, that shaman did not like that white guy. He put him went up to the high Andes where there was still snow and they found a pool with ice in it. And he spent an hour cutting through the ice so that he could stay in it for 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, that guy hated you. Wow. And you paid for it. I thought that was hilarious. But I have a bad sense of humor.
All right. Well, let me say hello to Ziggy. Welcome. You were a little late coming to the studio. Andy, this is Ziggy, James Ziggy Ziegler. And he's
Zig Ziglar? That's Zig Ziglar?
That's Zig Ziglar. He is also a member of our Paranormals team. Yeah.
I know Zig Ziglar, but he's a motivational speaker.
Nope, I'm not him.
I did. I used to know Ziegler too. Like when the internet first came out, I don't know if that was changed or not myself. Hi, Doug. Thanks so much for joining us. And Doug says, Andy, that his cat disappeared from his apartment this morning. Oh, really? Without being let out? What kind of concern should I expect?
The first thing I heard was the cat's going to come back on its
Okay.
own. I heard
Oh,
two, so within 2 days, maybe 2 hours, perhaps 2 weeks, it'll be back, and that it will have an adventure, and it may come back a little worse for the wear, but it'll come back.
all right then. Great. Keep questions coming. We love it. We love it. Great
Now,
answer.
now in the meantime, so we don't forget, Andy, you had an experience that friends of yours said had aired on television where when you were in the Coast Guard, you saw a UFO. Can you talk about that experience?
Well, I think it was November 11th, 1981, and I was on the mid watch, and that's from 7 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning. And as a radioman, I just listen to the radio for somebody to call help, or I do a weather broadcast. And I heard Comosh Coast Guard. If you know where Comosh Coast Guard is, or even if you don't, it's in Canada. It's on Victoria Island, and it's at the northern western side of the island. And they've got helicopters, and they keep radio watch over there. And this guy comes on, and he had this kind of a brogue, and this is Comosh Coast Guard radio. He really rolled those R's. And he said, pon, 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 which means emergency, pay attention. There is a meteor headed for Elliott Bay in Seattle. And I'm like, I'm in Elliott Bay in Seattle. I'm Pier 36. Then about a minute later, I heard the Mount Constitution, which is on Orcas Island in the San Juans, go bzzzt, like an electromagnetic force went past it. And I'm looking out the window, waiting to die, because what are you going to do, right? It's a meteor going to hit Elliott Bay. If a meteor hit Elliott Bay, it would be a tidal wave, tsunami, and an explosion all at the same time. It would level buildings. Millions of people would die in an instant. So I'm looking out the window, and it comes across like this. It lit up the sky for like 6 seconds. And it was this huge walnut-shaped craft that was probably as big as the Kingdome Stadium back then. The Kingdome Stadium, you could play football or baseball in there. It held like 60,000, 70,000 people. And there it was flying across Puget Sound. And I'm like, I'm not dead. And I asked the officer of the day, how do I log that? And he says, well, if you ever want to get promoted, you won't log that. I'm like, I don't care if I get promoted. I'm happy right here. So I logged Comosh Coast Guard's emergency signal. And my teletype starts buzzing. And I go over to it. And there's a flash message. I've never received one in my whole 4 years of being a radioman, or 3.5 years of being a radioman. I've never received a flash message. You got 5 minutes to deliver that message. And I look at it, and it says that a meteor came down from Canada, went to the Oregon-Washington border, and turned 90 degrees to follow the Columbia River, and went down in the Columbia River Gorge, which is known for its UFO activity. Now, you don't usually see that kind of activity from a meteor. They can't usually turn 90 degrees. They just go straight. And this one turned 90 degrees.
Wow.
So I logged it, and apparently that was a big deal in the UFO community, because it's the only time that the government has acknowledged that a UFO activity occurred. And it's because I didn't care if I got promoted.
Oh
Wow,
well,
fantastic. I love that story. That's excellent.
interesting. James, you have a question for Andy?
Yes. Andy, can you tell us any stories about Area 51?
I've never been to Area 51. I have driven past the UFO store out there in Nevada, which is, I don't know, maybe 30 to 50 miles from Area 51. But I live in Phoenix. I don't have to go to Area 51 if I want to see a UFO. They're all around out here. I remember being in
Yeah,
my pool at night and I'm seeing the star, and the star is doing this. It's going up and down like it's bouncing in the atmosphere. I'm like, we don't see that kind of activity in a star usually. I remember going to the casino, not Cliff Castle. I can't remember the name of that casino.
Starts with a P. Starts
But
with a P.
on the way, we see UFOs going like this through the sky. And
Pachanga.
remember those lights over Phoenix?
I
Mm-hmm.
remember the
Mm-hmm.
story. I watched the documentary on it. Were you there then?
I was not here then, but my wife was, and that lasted for a week.
I know. Yeah, it was so interesting, they had on this documentary. I know they showed about at least 20 different people that videoed it with their own cameras, right? And they all looked exactly the same. I mean, you could tell it was the same thing in the sky. It didn't matter what kind of camera you had, so it wasn't a hoax. This was real.
And that
At
was a
that time,
triangle shape, right?
it was a triangle. Well, it was a V formation.
Yeah.
At that time, I don't believe that we had the technology to synchronize drones, and we didn't definitely have the fuel or the battery power on a drone to keep it aloft for hours.
I
You get
know,
a drone
right?
in the air, the most it's going to last is like 45 minutes.
Yeah, you're right. Uh, so I saw that document. It's a very interesting documentary. If none of you have seen it, you can actually look it up on YouTube. It's still there.
I seen it.
Um, have you seen it? Yeah. So, but just for the audience, I'm sharing that information for the audience that if you haven't seen it, you can search Phoenix Lights, and that's all you got to put in. And several different videos will come up of it, and as well as documentaries on it. And thank you, 270 of you now who are still with us. Thank you so very much. There was a
Now,
question that Judy had. Judy says, "What do you think?" I'll get you just a sec, Tim. I want to answer Judy's question. Judy says, and I don't know if this is to you, Andy, or to me, but she says, "What do you think of the boy missing in Nashville, Tennessee?" When if it's to me, Judy, I don't know about it because I don't remember seeing an alert, Amber Alert on my phone, and I have not watched the news, local news, no more than about 10 or 15 minutes just to check on the weather for the past couple of days because I've been busy on a couple of projects. So if it's to Andy, Andy, do you know anything about it?
This is the first I've heard of it. And while I was reading it there, the first thing I got that um, he's going to come back. They're going to find him, but he is not going to be the same.
Mm, all
Um,
right, food for thought.
mm,
It takes me back when she asked the question now that she has. I don't know if you remember this, Andy. You probably may not be as old as me, but this had to be probably like early '90s, maybe. Because I have a gift of vision myself, and I was born with a veil over my face, and I know you know what that means. And there was this little girl. I think it was in Texas somewhere, or Oklahoma somewhere, and they were looking for her. She came up missing, playing in the backyard, and uh, she was in this hole. Cause she'd gone down in a hole or something, and they were looking for her. Well, she went missing from the backyard. That's to begin with, but they had been searching for her for a week, and at that time we did not have computers, right? And but they did appeal to the nation, the whole United States nation, to if they had any information or had seen her, they had an address that you could write to. They didn't put a phone number up. And I wrote a letter and told them because I had this dream during the week that they were looking for her, that she was in a hole somewhere, that she had fallen into a deep hole. And I sent a letter, and I would say the letter back then, it didn't take as long as for mail to get travel as it does now, because they really don't know about to use mail now, but the mail got slower with technology for some reason.
That's why they
So
call it snail mail.
yeah, right. And we got, but it took about 3 days to get there. But they were looking for her well over into the second week when all of a sudden I turned on the TV and they were digging in this hole. They thought that they had heard her, and they dug overnight, and I think they kept it live a lot, on the TV stations. We didn't have 3 stations back then, maybe 4. But they did find her there, and I often wondered, was it because my letter reached them in time? Did I have anything to do with it? Maybe even some other people that may have had the vision, because many times when you have a vision, you're not the only one having the vision. And or was it just them constantly persevering to find her? Do you remember that incident?
I remember, and I think they had to. The hole was like this well, and they had to dig sideways to get into it because they didn't want to collapse the well, and that's what took them so long. But what I heard while you were talking is that your letter was instrumental, but it was one of like 3 or 4 that said the same thing.
You're breaking up a little bit. We didn't get that. Let me spotlight you and see if that'll help. Could you say that again for me?
What I heard is that while you were talking, is that your letter was instrumental in making that happen, but it was one of 3 or 4 letters that said the same thing, that it was that she was in a well. And as I recall, they had to dig sideways into the well so that it wouldn't collapse on her because it was
Right.
unstable.
You're
But yeah,
right.
I remember that.
Yeah, they sure did have to go in sideways, and I think that's why it took it so long. Hey, we got a
Yeah.
comment or a question from Doug. Doug says a cloud with silent lightning within the cloud in specific quadrants, like the movie Close Encounters, followed alongside the bus from El Paso to San Antonio. So I guess that's something that he witnessed. Well, all right, Doug.
I got a
Yeah.
question. I gotta get this in here because
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thanks,
it's
Tim.
it's that important. We are due for a total eclipse on April the 8th. The military is gonna be on high alert. They won't really tell us what's going on. Do you have any insight into that?
What I heard is that during that time, it's going to be a signal to negative groups to start trouble. Our border's
Mm,
been invaded, and it's been invaded for the last 3 years. There are something like 13 million illegal aliens. A lot of times, those people are from Somalia. They're from Nigeria. These are not nice places. They're Iraqis and other nations like that are pretending to be Mexicans crossing the border. And our government is giving them a $10,000 credit card. They're putting up in a nice hotel. They're getting a cell phone. They're getting food stamps and free medical. I'm tempted to cross the border myself.
Now they're getting free
I'm
weapons.
too tall to be an
Yeah,
illegal
we'll
alien.
leave and we'll come back. How about that,
Well, why
everybody?
don't we all
Yeah,
go
we'll leave
back there?
and
We'll
we'll come
just come
back.
over and just get processed, get our
All
money.
right.
Now the government's giving free weapons, Andy.
Oh, that you can
Yes.
buy a
Yeah.
weapon anywhere you want to. You can buy it on the internet and put it together if you want to.
You could, but the government's giving it to them.
Free.
Nice.
Right.
Well, my feeling is that that's a signal to start trouble,
Okay.
and it's also possible because they're going to be on high alert they're going to be on high alert to protect the politicians that made this happen.
Right.
Just like they did on January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
They protected themselves, but nobody else. They
I
made that
agree.
happen. And see, that's why I don't make a good guess, because I tell the truth.
No, you're telling the truth.
Yeah.
We have a politics show. We're not having it tomorrow night, but we have a politics show where we're very outspoken. We tell the truth, and they can like it or lump it. But
We don't just
um,
go one way. We go listen to both sides.
yeah, we listen to both sides, but we still speak our minds. Because I tell them
Yep.
the theme and the mission of my politics show when I started it, and it's probably about 6 years old now, maybe 5. But my theme and what the closing thought that I always end my show with is simply this: free speech is a philosophy. It is not a policy, and don't let anybody put a policy on the way that you think, because that's your free thought. Nobody can claim it. Nobody can put a policy on it. It's yours.
And there is a reason why it's the First Amendment. It's because it's that important. It's
It
got to
is
be
that
number
important.
one.
And
It
too
is
many
that
of our
important.
ancestors have dived to give us that right.
That's right.
Right.
You're right. You're absolutely
Now,
right.
I did invite Andy on the show, on the political show sometimes, because he does have a lot of opinions about it.
Oh,
So
great.
yeah, I'd like
Great.
to reinvite you back, another time when we do have a show, Andy, if you'd like to be on it. So
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah,
I'm going to get so much hate mail.
that's
Well,
I
okay.
go
I
on
mean,
Facebook.
we get hard
they don't
times on Facebook. Yes.
they don't
Uh-huh.
send me any. No, they don't send me any. I don't get any hard time from them.
Well,
Because
just
they
remember,
know me. They know me, and they would not have allowed me to have the show, that politics show, for 6 years. Now, Kathy might get some hate mail on her end, but no, I don't get
Well,
any on
I
mine.
don't get hate mail. I just get like Facebook. Like as soon as I start posting, start
Oh,
telling me I'm restricted. I mean, all of a sudden, just for no reason,
But
and they
it's
do it.
never, yeah, it's never been on a politics show because they're doing it to you for everything, right?
well, they
Mine's on
Well,
should.
Facebook
they
too.
do it every time I try to advertise a TV show. They do it. I don't know why. Every time, any of them, shows. Yeah,
But,
they start
but
right on me right away.
well, what else do they do? I mean, what about your other
They
posts?
mainly just tell me I'm restricted right away, and they ask me if I agree, and I never hit the okay button, and I keep on going, and I'm good, and everything still goes out. They don't like me because I don't say okay, because I
wow.
don't believe I should be restricted, because I don't do anything.
Well, I've
Oh,
been in
they
Facebook
shadow
jail so
ban.
many times.
Huh?
They shadow ban. They restrict. They went back 7 years on me to block me.
Mhm.
And I haven't been in deep trouble in a long time on Facebook because I just don't do that stuff anymore. I do it elsewhere. But I believe that when Facebook followed Elon Musk's business model and fired 25, 35% of their people, that the person that was watching my page, living in his parents' basement, got fired and he couldn't follow me anymore.
That's a good analogy.
Okay, so Doug wanted to know how to get in touch with you, Andy, and I have put your website. For those of you in the audience that would like to get in touch with Andy, his website is right. It's there on the screen, and it's simply walkswiththunder.com. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll be back. Stick and stay. Don't go away. All right, we are back, and I would like to thank Sandra for her early congratulations, congratulating us on our 11 years in broadcasting. Thank you, Sandra. We're actually having our celebratory show on Friday night, and we are going to also have a happy birthday, um, hellos and shout outs, and a song for one of our fans that's a gamer, one of our gamer fans. And in addition to that, somebody bumping around in the background, I hear you. And in addition to that, we're gonna have let me see who that is. We're gonna have a trivia game. And for the trivia game, you need to research us and find out for us um, all about the Emily Pearl Show and TPS production. Because for those of you that did not know, I never really even thought about it. TEPS is simply an acronym for the Emily Pearl Show. And when we got into filming movies and doing video commercials and things like that, I simply just added productions to it. Okay. So we actually first had just the Emily Pearl Show on Blog Talk Radio 11 years ago on March the 5th. So we have not been able to get out and do big parties in a physical location. So tomorrow we'll be celebrating. I mean, not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Friday, be there or be square because you might win a prize. All right. Let's welcome back the rest of the team on the show tonight if I can get me off spotlight. Okay. All right then. Thank you, Sandra. Okay. Any more questions for Andy?
I got a quick
Well,
question.
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kathy.
Well, I was just going to ask Andy, where did you get your name, your native name? I'm so curious about native names and how you get them and how they happen to give you walks with
Oh, look
thunder.
at the pops.
He's
Oh
muted.
wait. Okay, hold
Uh,
on.
Ed Whiting. I was talking to my pal, Ed Whiting. He's a medicine man for the Lakota out there in Pine Ridge. And I said, why is there a Thunderbird following me? He says, well, you'll have to ask the Thunders why they're doing that. And so I concentrated, I closed my eyes, I got a vision, and I talked to a Thunder Spirit whose name was Walks with Thunder. And I asked him if it was okay if I used his name for a book. And he said, it's a good name for a book, but it's even better name for a man. You should use it. And it took me 3 or 4 years to put that name on because it was so big. To me, it seemed so big, and it still seems big to me. And there are some natives that will tell me, well, how'd you get your name? And I'll tell them. And then I'll say, you can go ask that Thunder Spirit. And if you live, let me know what he said.
Why
Good one.
you don't think that the thunder spirit would be kind to the person that asks?
The way a Thunder Spirit says hello is it hits you with a bolt of lightning first.
Really? Ah, well, I've never met one.
All right.
I think that's hilarious, but they usually shut up after that.
Well, yeah, I've never met one. I mean, I've gotten shocked before. I have contained so much electricity in my body that when I touch a piece of metal, like a car door handle or metal stove, refrigerator, or something, I get shocked, a pretty big shock. And I have at times carried that much electricity in my body, and I don't
You
know
would be
why.
you would be eligible to join a Thunder Society, which is a secret society for only people that have been touched by lightning or
Re-
electricity.
Really?
Mhm.
That's been happening to me all my life. Who would have thought, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
my second wife told me we were having an argument that day, and she says, "You're still mad, aren't you?" And I said, "Well, wait a minute. How do you know I'm still mad?" She goes, "Because I'm scratching your back, and these 8 and 14-inch lightning bolts are coming off your back." And I said, "Oh, well, who wouldn't be mad? I mean, really, I was right, and you wanted to tell me I would, you know." And we went on with it, but I had a girlfriend, and we were out in Seattle looking at the water, and it started to rain as it does. And she had this raincoat with a hood, and I had a leather jacket without a hood. We ran back to the car, and it's raining, it's just throwing buckets, not drops, but buckets. And, I'm drenched. I get back in the car, I turn it on. We both reach for a Kleenex, and she pulls her hand back and goes, "Ow, what?" She goes, "Lightning came out of your finger and hit me. I know you're upset about this." And then she looks at me and she says, "Can you do it again?"
Women like that kind of energy in certain situations.
Oh, I told my second wife that when I met her, I wanted to kiss her, and I did. And she's like, so I can do better, and I did it again. And she says, it's not that the first one wasn't good, but I never felt electricity before. You read about it, people talk about it, but when you did it, I felt the electrical connection. I said, well, all the girls say that.
Yeah. Well, I must have a little bit of that myself because I'll tell you one thing. I haven't had three husbands for one reason or not at all, right?
I've had 3 husbands. We both have had 3 husbands.
Yeah, Kathy has had three husbands too, right?
I think I have a little Thor in me myself.
You probably do, yeah, because
If,
The
well,
Viking thing. Yeah.
Oh,
if
we
they
got
die, they die.
okay, so we got a true struck by lightning statement here from Doug. Doug says, I got struck by lightning when I was 16 years old, but lightning didn't go through my fingers. Ah, okay. So I guess you don't a thunder person, Doug.
He could definitely be if he was native. But normally, lightning will find ground. So if you got hit in the head, it'll come out your feet. And sometimes it will leave an electrical pattern where it came out.
He
It's
didn't
not a
say
happy
where.
experience.
Yeah, he didn't say where he got hit by it. He just said he got struck by it. Now, let me ask you this about water and Native Americans. I don't know if it has anything to do with that side of my heritage, my native side, but I'm drawn to water. Water calls me, and I can't go around large bodies of water because water will call me in it. I'll go into a trance and walk right off a cliff. Or maybe if I was on a bridge, I'd probably jump on a bridge, off a bridge. And I didn't find that out until my family and we went up to, I was carrying my son. I was 5 months pregnant then with you, Tim. You were really cutting up in me. And I, I didn't find out that I was drawn to water until then. We were out on whatever that river is, out just right outside of downtown Chicago or on the some part of Chicago where you could just walk not far. It's a park, kind of like here in Memphis. We have Tom Lee Park, and then the river runs right beside the park. Well, this place was like that, except it was like cliffside, right? And everybody was talking, and all of a sudden, all I know is one of my relatives, well, one of the relatives that we actually just met in Chicago, from Chicago, had grabbed me by the shoulders and was pulling me back, and I turned around. What are you doing? And all everybody was looking at me. They said, "Girl, you was walking right straight out the cliff into the ocean or river, rather." But what is it about that? Do you know anything about it?
Everything has a spirit, including water.
Mm-hmm.
And most likely, the spirit of that river was calling you because it wanted to give you a cleansing.
Oh no, no, I can't.
And,
That was too much
and,
water.
and some water is not that clean anymore. But the spirit of water was letting you know there's a connection. Now, there are water elementals that live in the water. And I had a a student say, I'm having trouble, you know, finding an elemental. And I was at a hotel that had a pool, and I said, well, come on over, bring your swimsuit. I'll introduce you to one. And she's in the pool, and she says, I don't believe it. And I said, don't worry, it'll happen. And I called a water elemental. And about a minute later, she jumps out of the pool because something touched her leg.
Mm.
And there's water's clear. You can't see it.
Mm.
Now, I'm pretty sure you offended it by jumping out, but you know, they're real. There are all kinds of elementals, and they're all around us all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think about the rivers and the seas. People throw ashes of their cremated ones in rivers and seas and oceans. And then about, just down through the centuries of time, from wars,
Yeah.
shipwrecks, of people drowning,
Yeah.
planes crashing, and sinking to the bottom. There are cities, that are ancient cities under the seas, and so those
Atlantis.
spirits are there. The spirits of those people are there,
Yeah.
and so I've just avoided. People have always tried to get me to join travel clubs and uh, go on cruises with them, and like I'm not gonna
But
do it.
but go
That
ahead. Go ahead.
was not a good idea for you.
No,
Go
it's not a
ahead.
good idea for me because I see lots of stories lately, and where they say that people were on a cruise ship and they just disappeared out the cruise ship. They were trying to figure out if they jumped off or whatever. And because I know what almost happened to me, I would tell people that I know exactly what happened to them. The water called them. They actually went into the water. They jumped in there themselves.
Or or could it be calling me? Because I'm a water sign. I'm a Pisces.
You are a water sign. It could have been calling you while I was pregnant with you. You're
There
right.
you go.
That you're right, Tim.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I never thought about that.
All I
Now, can
know
we
is one
get
thing
back
I'm
to
a,
Ziggy? Poor Ziggy. He's been waiting for his
Oh, sorry,
question.
Ziggy.
that's all right.
Okay.
All I
Go
know,
ahead.
Emily, if you start calling me Jason, I'm out of here.
Ah, I'm not going to, but I'm gonna let you ask the last question, and we're gonna get out of Dodge, okay?
And Andy
Okay.
doesn't know what we're talking about. She calls me
Okay.
Frank all the time.
No, I almost did. I caught myself just now.
Mm.
James, you got the stage for the next minute or so.
My question for Andy is about the Chinese spy balloons that were over the top of us. Were they really balloons, or was it the aliens playing a prank on us and saying, "Yeah, remember Area 51"?
The feeling I have around that is that they were actually Chinese balloons, that they did carry a data package, and that, you know, they're just keeping an eye on their property. They own a lot of property in the United States.
Yeah.
The TikTok is a big leaking information device, and you know we got to watch out for that.
It came out today they own 400 and something thousand acres of farmland.
Oh, that's
Wow.
good. That's old. Well, I've talked about that on the politics show for a whole year now. James, don't you remember? Christine, hi, welcome to the show. Andy, Christine says I got real seasick cooking a ship and Torres Strait, and I almost jumped over. So I think there is truth to the sea calling, or maybe we just want it all to stop.
What I would tell you to do is make friends with the spirit of the water. And you
But
just say to the spirit of the water, I want to be friends. I don't want to have any animosity between us. Water is life. I appreciate you.
okay, that's
That's a
simple.
good approach. Yeah,
i
that's a great approach.
All really
Well, can
good
I mention?
shamanism is simple.
well, I might try maybe taking the Memphis Showboat ride
We'll do it.
on our river here. But we recently had a lady that disappeared here. It was last year, Tim. You remember?
Yeah, we
A,
did.
a young black lady that they was partying on the Memphis Showboat back here a little before
Hmm.
Thanksgiving last year, I believe.
That's correct.
And they finally found her. Like 2 weeks later, her body showed up in the water, down the river, but it was way away
Hmm.
from Memphis. So I'll only go. I'll only try that if Tim can go with me and have one of those little child ropes on me. You know how
Yeah.
you
Go for
Okay.
it, Tim.
I got you. I got
he'll,
you.
he'll have to put
Okay,
me on.
he
He
can
have to
handle that. He's a big guy.
keep me on a lead. You know what I mean?
I got you. Got you
That's
covered.
Tim Voorhees.
and then that way, Tim, at least we can find out whether but that incident that happened when I was carrying you wasn't really calling you because you were Pisces water sign
Hmm.
because you were in my stomach, or was it calling me?
Yeah.
Right,
We're calling you.
the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Andy, real quick now, can people contact you about what you were talking about when you helping them, mentor them, about being a shaman, things like that?
It,
Because we need to address that. Yeah.
it's on my website. Becoming
Mhm.
a medicine person is not what I do. What you will be is a modern shaman. You'll be able to move traffic around you. I've been in Los Angeles doing 50 miles an hour while the other 3 lanes of traffic are just stopped.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, I
Just
do that all the time. Similar tell you. Tim can tell you too that when I get ready to park, no matter where I'm going, I always find a parking space. It's always one there waiting for me. Oh,
Yeah.
and it's always close to the building where we're going, right, Tim?
Yeah, that's about right.
So
All right.
I can do that too.
Thank you for
I
letting
need
me
to
be
take
on
you
your
to the
show
stores
today.
then with me because I
uh,
can never find a parking spot.
well, that's because you think you're not gonna find one when you get there.
Yeah, you got to ask your angels. You got to ask your angels to reserve a spot for you.
I got to get a handicap spot.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but you know what? I have a handicap sticker, but it's been plenty of times that people that don't even have handicap stickers have
Well, we thank.
are parked in the handicap spaces, and you still gotta find one. But
Yeah.
so I always still be able to um.
Right.
Oh
I
yeah, yes.
understand.
Look, Christine, I like what you said, and we're gonna end the show on that right there. Christine says, "Better knock on wood." Now that you might surface law. Now that I have broadcasted it out there, not ever be able to find parking space again. All right, so we're gonna do last comments really quick, about 30 seconds each person. Then we'll start thanking Andy for coming on the show. Tim, we'll start with you.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Andy, so much, man, coming in and spending your time with us and sharing your wisdom. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Tim. And James, you're next.
Thank you, Andy, for coming on the show. Sorry I was late, but nature called, and I've
Yep.
learned a lot today. Got a couple other questions, but I'll save it for another time.
TMI, James. TMI. Oh, look, Andy, you know what TMI meant, right?
Mm.
Too much
Uh,
information.
yes.
Yes, I never knew what that meant.
Well, I
So
had to
thank
think of
you.
a good
I'm glad.
excuse.
It is the call that cannot be denied.
Yes,
That's true,
now the
especially
whole
when you get my age.
now the whole world knows. All right, Kathy, up to you.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure, Andy, and I hope that everyone can check out Andy's website as far as in his shaman type classes that he teaches people and mentors people also in relationships and other things that are of importance. So don't forget to check out walkswiththunder.com.
All right, and I'll be going there tomorrow so that I can subscribe to everything and everywhere that you are, Andy. And I really want to thank you so very much for coming on the show. We have really enjoyed you tonight, and our audience have really enjoyed you too, haven't you guys? Right?
mm.
Yeah, they
Oh,
Yay.
have.
he's a star.
Thanks for having me on. I'm going to have to go. I got another appointment, but I really appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you. So tonight, everybody,
Bye,
we'll see you
Andy.
All right.
Friday
Night.
night.
Good night,
Good
family.
night.
Bye.
All right.